Welcome back to The Explainer. Have you ever really thought about what's happening inside your body when you work out? I mean, on a deep level? Well, today we're going to decode the science behind it all. We're going to look at how our bodies adapt to exercise and unpack the rules that really govern our progress, whether you're a pro athlete or just getting started.
Okay, so let's kick things off with a simple, but I think a really powerful way to look at this. Just imagine for a second that your body, all your bones, muscles, and organs, is this incredible piece of high-performance hardware. It's perfectly engineered, but it's basically just sitting there, waiting for instructions.
So what's the training you do? Well, that's the software. Every single workout, every drill, every repetition, it's like a line of code you're writing. It's the program that tells your hardware what to do, how to perform, and ultimately, how to get better.
And that's really the key, right? Understanding how to install the right upgrades for your specific goals. This isn't about just doing random exercises. It's about systematic, purposeful training. All right, let's dive in.
So first things first, why does our body change at all when we exercise? Well, it all comes down to a process called physiological adaptation. Now, that's just a fancy term for how your body responds and literally rebuilds itself to meet the demands you put on it. It's the core mechanism of your body's software update.
So what are we upgrading? Well, you can think of these 4 core components as your fitness operating system. You've got cardio, which is all about making your heart and lungs more efficient. Then there's muscle for building strength and endurance. You have flexibility to increase your range of motion and keep you from getting injured. And finally, body composition, which is that all-important ratio of lean mass to fat. Basically, every workout you do is a patch designed to upgrade one or more of these areas, making the whole system just run smoother.
Okay, so let's get really specific for a moment. Let's zoom in. When you're doing endurance training, like going for a long run or a bike ride, what's actually happening at the microscopic level? How does that software update really play out inside your cells? And this is where it gets so cool. Your body senses this huge demand for energy, and it responds by literally building more and bigger mitochondria. These are your cellular power plants. This makes you way more efficient at using oxygen and creating energy. Your body is literally building a better engine to handle the workload you're giving it. Amazing, right?
So now we know why the body adapts. But what about how it adapts? Well, it turns out there are rules to this game. Think of these as the fundamental laws of coding for your body. If you want your training software to actually work, you've got to follow these principles. And here they are. These 5 principles are the absolute foundation of any good training program. We've got specificity, overload, progression, reversibility, and variation. If you can master these, you're going to write some seriously effective code that leads to real, safe improvement, not bugs or system crashes.
The first rule couldn't be simpler. Your training has to match your goal. The principle of specificity means your body gets good at exactly what you make it do. You can't train for a marathon by only lifting weights. The software just doesn't compute that way. If you want to get better at running, well, you've got to run.
And this brings us to a principle I think everyone has felt at some point in their life. Reversibility. And it's summed up perfectly by that old saying, use it or lose it. All those fitness gains are not permanent. If you stop riding and running the training code, your system will start to revert to its old settings. Consistency is everything. And get this, the speed at which you detrain can be shockingly fast. Research shows that if you stop exercising completely, you can lose up to half of your cardiovascular fitness improvements in just 2 months. That software gets uninstalled a lot faster than it was installed. Okay, so we've got the what and the why. Let's get to the how. How do we apply these rules in the real world? Because the principles are the same for everybody, but the application, the actual code you write, has to be tailored to the individual. So we can pretty much group these applications into 3 main categories, and we've got a handy mnemonic to remember them. RAF. That's R for rehabilitation, for someone recovering from an injury, A for athlete, for someone trying to boost their performance in a specific sport, and F for general fitness, just improving overall health and how you function every day.
So think about it. How would you apply these principles differently for, say, a competitive swimmer who needs explosive power off the blocks versus a patient who's trying to carefully recover from an ACL injury? The answer is all about using different types of muscle contractions, really tailoring that code to the very specific needs of that person.
And what's so fascinating about this is how it all breaks down. Take a look. For that ACL patient, you'd start with something called isometric training, basically static holds, to wake up the muscle without even moving the joint. But for a swimmer, that same isometric training is used to build a rock-solid core. And the office worker? They're using it to improve their posture by doing planks. It's the same tool, the same line of code, but applied for totally different results based on what the user needs.
Now, following the rules is one thing, but it's also really easy to push too hard or apply that overload principle incorrectly. And when that happens, you get bugs in your system. We're talking plateaus, burnout, or even injury. This is a state known as overtraining, and learning how to debug your code is absolutely vital. Learning to listen to your body, to read the system feedback, is a skill you have to develop. Are you excited to train and seeing your performance go up? Great, that's progress. But are you getting sick all the time, feeling cranky, and just constantly sore? Those are the warning signs of overtraining. It means your software is crashing, and you need to adjust the code before you do real damage.
Okay, so we've covered a lot. We've seen why the body adapts, the 5 core rules that guide that adaptation, and how to apply them to different people and different goals. So what's the big takeaway from all this?
Well, the most important thing to remember is that effective training isn't random. It's a systematic, scientific process. Once you understand these principles, you can move from just, exercising to truly training with purpose. You're not just banging on the keyboard anymore, you're intentionally writing a program to get a specific result.
And please remember, your fitness journey is completely unique. Your goals, your body, your life, those are the variables in your personal training equation. The best software is always custom built. What works for a professional athlete probably won't work for you, and that's okay.
So, that brings us to the end, the principles of training. That's your coding language. But now, it's up to you to become the programmer. You have this incredible hardware, and it's ready for an upgrade. So the only question left is, what software are you going to install?